I've come to realise that my job, or anyone who's speaking about life beyond personality, or whatever phrase they want to use for it, the job is to kind of trip up or pull the rug away from the personality by not supporting your personality, by not letting it get away with what it normally gets away with, maybe. And now this is an odd thing, because of course this can only come about because we have a contract, and the contract is that I'm offering this to you. If it was someone else, it would have a very different response. They would probably tell me to get lost, quite rightly, because I don't have that contract with them. But our contract is that you have a willingness and a readiness to go in this direction.
One thing that you said, I think, again off camera today, that I found interesting was the other part of your job is not to say anything that, my ego will latch on to, as in, oh, Matthew, you're doing really well today, or, oh, you're really seeing, you're seeing beyond, I don't know, none of that sort of encouragement which my personality could, and would latch hold on of. And
yeah, you realise that in the world out there are lots of codes of behaviour, aren't there? For example, friends sometimes have a function of support. So one friend will be feeling down, and another friend will support them and encourage them, and that's a beautiful thing. But I'm here to destroy you. I'm not here to. Of course, I am supporting you, but I'm supporting you in something other than, I'm not supporting your personality. I'm supporting you, who you really are. Oh, I'm not at all interested in supporting your personality, and because that's just prolonging your investment and your ongoing experience of it.
There's a couple of things. I mean, one thing I've noticed with you, and it hasn't been spoken between us, but I think you sometimes just with a look, you'll be able to...
A withering look.
Well, you'll either be saying, what will you do with that if I answer it, Matthew? Would be one. Or, Matthew, you're going to fall into the trap of thinking your ego's small, which is, a real tendency I have to think, oh, I'm doing really well, I'm killing my personality, or I'm destroying it, I'm seeing it, I'm so good at that. You get on an ego trip about that, don't you?
Well, you do.
I do, yeah.
It's all a charade. I mean, it's such a joke. The personality wanting to be puffed up. When you've seen through the whole thing, it looks so childish.
You were talking about an American TV host today, and you can just see his insecurities, lead to his interviews. So he'll be, always almost playing to the camera rather than listening to the guest.
You can look at anything out there in the world and see, is it coming from the world of personality and the needs and the insecurities? Or is it coming from the character, what I would call the character? There's another host who I've seen recently who has a guest, and they're relaxed enough to play that role, to be the host, and get out of the way, not be egotistical, and to actually enjoy the guest. And therefore you get a much better interview. People know when, for example, a politician is using spin and just talking for their own gain, and they're not really answering the question, and they know when someone's being genuine and they like it.
When I asked you, do I seem any different from you? And you correctly picked up that wherever that question may have originated, in my mind, I think it did come from quite a clear place, but very quickly my personality hopped on board there, and brought an element of seeking approval or affirmation.
Yeah, I felt like you were looking for confirmation, and that can only really come from the personality, because is the experience not enough? Does it need anything added? I'm asking you now.
It really doesn't.
So you can see, once again, my role is to... We talked earlier, actually, about part of the knowing is the ability to see personality in action. It's like you sniff it out immediately. And part of this role is to not feed that dog, as it were. If I was to say to you, what happened to you is a very high experience. It's only attained by very few people. And look, I'm talking as if I know that, and there's this whole importance put on it from you and then from me if I said that. What happened is what happened. You know what happened. You're feeling it. And that's enough. Before an experience, a personality who's into seeking and spiritual life seeks that experience. In the middle of the experience, if it is an experience of life beyond personality, none of that operates. But as the experience tails off, part of what makes it go away is the one that comes in and says, I've had an experience. I'm important. I'm getting somewhere in my seeking. I'm a special person. Not many people have this, blah, blah, blah. But in fact, and this is the real point, is it not utterly ordinary? This is how you were born. Somewhere you know this. Your body-mind system knows it. That memory is in you and in your cells. It's natural stroke ordinary in that sense. It's become extraordinary because there is such a prevalence of being identified with personality. But I suppose my point I'm trying to make is that in fact it is part of our nature. It is part of the natural state.
I think it's going to be very interesting experience. I hope it continues just because it's fascinating in ways.
We're suddenly in the future again.
Not the fascination. It'll
Yeah,
entertain me. Oh, yeah.
The hope is future oriented. I hope it lasts. I mean, it's funny, those very things you're applying to it are the things that are actually eroding it. The way we're programmed to be in this world, none of those things apply to this. So you're left in this very strange position where you want to get into that gear that you know and then apply it to this experience. But this experience only happens because that bit and that gear is being disengaged. The strategies we have for gaining things don't apply, and we talked about this recently, that normally we learn in stages and we do that and it leads to that and then we get a result. So that doesn't apply. And afterwards, the strategies for keeping and holding on to this don't apply. So you meaning the personality, cannot win. It doesn't work in this arena.